So in our plots we've dug about 1.5 meters of the 4x3 plots, and now we're going to erect a low polytunnel to protect our kale from the rabbits and pigeons. You can see here that by using this irrigation pipe cut to 1.8 meters, 3 of them, they make hoops, and then at the end we drive in 2 pegs which is going to anchor the EnviroMesh or EnviroTech tunnel that we're going to put on, and then we put the EnviroMesh over the top, and here we go.
End point here, so you're going to go as far as just before that end point and just lay it down there, and that's going to give you enough to spread a tunnel about 3 meters and a bit on the ends so that we can kind of trench it in. So then what we're going to do obviously is just to chop it off there. Look at that.
Wow.
Sharp scissors, what a difference. So we'll pop that there, and then we're going to take that, that's sort of stage 1. Okay, we'll just fold it over for now, put that there. And then stage 2, you want to get yourself some of these, what is effectively irrigation pipe, okay, and it's about 25 mil, and you can cut that up. You want about 1.8 meters to give you a nice span. Okay, you can have smaller ones, and obviously if you haven't quite dug as big a plot, you might want a slightly smaller set. If you've dug a big plot like Richard, you're going to need a monster, you're going to need a polytunnel. Okay, so just see what you want. Now if it's a bit too big, you want to make sure your 3 are about the same size, so just put them down, and if you've got one like this one's a bit bigger, you can see, oh, that's a little bit bigger. I can, if I want to, just get the hacksaw, okay, and we'll just put that round here and just chop a little bit off. You could push it in the ground, so it isn't the end of the world, but you can just cut a piece off. Now, if you're unlucky and you find that you've got, when you get to the end of the pile and there's only a slightly smaller one, if you want to make it bigger, then of course what you can do is to put a peg in here which goes into the ground, and that makes your hoop a bit bigger. So there's a few little tricks you can do if it isn't quite working out for you. So what I'm going to do, you only need 3, so I'm going to pick 3 hoops there, just check again. Yeah, they don't look too bad, so I think that'll be okay. We'll take this with me, I'll take my sharper pair of scissors with me, and we'll go and have a look at the next stage, which is over here. What we can do is be a little bit savvy in terms of what we're walking on this time of the year, because we can compact the soil. So what we're going to do is create the tunnel, but so that we can have access from this point where you can plant out your kale you've sown, and you can put that in the tunnel. So that'll be, you're not going to be trampling on anything. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll put the 3 pegs in, the 3 hoops in. So we're going to come in about, a foot, 300 mil, or a bit more if you want to, and I'm just going to push that in the ground. So I'm going to I'll put that one in, something like that, okay. It's quite a small tunnel actually, this one. And then I might put my slightly bigger hoop. The slightly bigger one is going to be this one. I'll put that one in the middle. But what I'm going to do I'm going to put the end one in first. Again, I'm going to come in about, about the same, about 300 mil from the side. Push that in. Okay. So you want it fairly tight on this side, because obviously you don't want to waste any of that precious work you've done in digging. Now what I'm going to do, I can kind of line it through a bit. I could put a piece of string down if I want to be, if I want perfection, but I'm going to be a little bit rustic organic on this one, and I'm going to push that in there. Push that in there, and just have a quick look to see if it's, yeah, not too bad. Maybe just bring this one forward a tad. Just push that in there a little bit better. Okay, so I've got my 3 hoops. They're in okay, not too bad. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a stake, and I'm going to tap that into this end, just inside where I want to be. I'm going to lean it back a little bit, so I'm just finding a bit of an old stake, an old pipe or whatever. I've got an old pipe here, a bit of old piping. It'll be fine. I'm going to knock that in this end, obviously knock it in fairly well so nobody trips on it. You could actually spray it as well with a bit of fluorescent paint too. So that's what I'm going to do. Then I'm going to get my netting, and this is where my lovely assistant is going to come and help me. Aren't you, Darren? And so what we're going to do...
Is this the first time most of you've seen a man make a bed?
Yeah, this could take quite a long time, actually.
Did I say that out loud?
So if you'd like to take that to that, look at that. Hey, what do we do? I only do duvets now. So what I'm going to do is make a little incision. There, it's just like casualty, isn't it? So we'll just do that. Sorry?
Don't want to be in the office.
Yeah, there's not much hygiene going on here, is there? So I need to improve it all. And then I'm just going to twist that together like that. Just a bit of a twist, just enough so I can tie a knot in there. So we'll just twist that up, okay, like that. And then I'm just going to put a little knot in that, so left over, right under, okay, and then right over, left under. So a little bit of a reef knot. Doesn't have to be a reef knot, but it just means that, you know. And then I've still got a little bit of a hole there, so I'm just going to pop that. So you don't want a great big hole, because the bunnies are going to find their way in. So I'm just going to put that like that. I'm going to just sort of loosely do a similar thing up there, and we can get that nice and same again. So it's exactly right. The same procedure again. I'm only going to cut as far as the bottom of the peg, if you like, no further, because otherwise I'm going to leave a hole there, and I don't want that. So I'm going to get the ridge reasonably tight. Again, just spin that round a few times. Spin that one round a few times, just enough to give you a reasonable start there. And then again, we'll just kind of left over, right under, right over, left under. So you've got something like that, and then we just sit that in there like that. Okay, it isn't that tight at the moment, as you can see. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to nip that up a little bit and make that a little bit tighter. And the way we do that is just to use the spade. To roll this in a little bit like that, just to about there, and roll that in something like that. And then what we'll do is we'll just push that in. Now it's important that you want to push this in well, because if you leave the tails out, a bird or something's going to get hold of it and yank that about a bit, and it's going to pop out the ground. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the ridge tight first, so you can see already it's beginning to tighten up. Fine. And then I'm going to do the same here. Just going to roll that a little bit. I'm going to roll that, doesn't matter which way around you do it, whether you go that way or the other way. I'm going to push that one in like that. And now if I want to get a bit more tension on it, you can see that the ridge is reasonably tight now, yeah? It's not super tight, but it's reasonably tight. Now, again, I can be, this side, once this is done, that's going to be done. So I'm going to go quite heavy on this one, because I'm not going to be undoing this side. Well, at least I hope I'm not going to be undoing that. This has got to last until the spring. I'm just going to pop that in. Now this is the side that we're going to well, not next week, it'll be the week after. You're going to be pricking out next week, and then after half term you're going to be wanting to do this a bit. So we don't want to go too mad, but it needs to be down enough to hold it for a couple of weeks. But you know, enough, once we've rolled it back, planted our kale and anything else we want in here, then it's good night for the hibernation time for the winter, really. So I'm just gonna pop them in, not go too mad, just enough that I can undo it. So this is stage one. Okay, so to get to that, and then the other thing we're looking at today is you could just, obviously I've walked on that a bit, and I'll just get the fork and I just kind of give that a little tickle over. Okay, and if it's a little bit uneven, it's a little bit lower here, I could drag a bit of this soil back, but just for the sake of now, I'm going to just give that a little bit of a tickle over. There's one or two weeds there, you can see there's a little bit of bindweed, calisthesia, knocking around, and you want to give yourself enough room that you can do a row of broad beans. We're going to be using the Sutton, which is a dwarf broad bean, but it's quite hardy and it's quite low, so it's not going to get too affected by the stone in there, so we'll take that out, cobble. So I'm just going to give myself...
Side over as well.
Sorry?
Are we turning? We're not double digging that.
No,
side,
no,
are
you're
we?
just doing a little light,
Okay.
sort of fork over like that, and I'm kind of levelling a bit as I go. Now, if you haven't got, we haven't got rakes up here, but that's okay, because the fork is actually a very good rake. Rake it that way, then rake it the other way, and you can get it, pretty good really, even with a fork for what we need anyway. So I've got my line, and now I need to do my Mickey Mouse knot.
Look at his knot.
So here we go, Mickey Mouse. Okay, go watch this very carefully. I'll probably end up doing it about 5 times before I get it, so. So what we do, we make a loop. That's one of Mickey's ears, okay? And you make another loop, but it's going the other way. This is on top at the moment, so I've got to make another loop. There it is. So that one's gone on top, that one's gone underneath. Can you see that? So Mickey's left ear, that one's on top. I've made another loop, it's now underneath. Turn the two together, turn Mickey's ears together. Pop the stick through. Okay, and that then is nice and tight. Isn't that nice? Eh? Isn't that nice? Wasn't it worth coming just for that? and then you've got, we're going to push that in the ground. Then we're going to do the same again. You get to do it twice. It's just, how much fun can you have in one day? Okay, so I'm going to, obviously I'm going to cut that off. We'll just do that. I'm just going to cut it off about there. Okay, put my scissors, I'm trying to remember where I've put them, once again. It's the other way around, so Mickey does that, and then that's it, it's the other way.
We're being obsessed on this now.
Yeah, absolutely, this is it, this is the whole,
This is the crux.
this is what the RHS based their syllabus on. So what we've got that, it's just about holding I think, and you can push it at an angle in to tighten as you go, so as you push it in, the line is tightening, it says, as you do it at an angle. So you've got your straight line. We've got this, these are the Sutton broad beans, and we're going to do them, amazingly, it's going to be the length of the trowel. Isn't that incredible how that's worked out? You could do them, a little bit further apart, you could do them a little bit closer together, but the length of the trowel is going to be good. And because this seed is last year's seed, we're going to do 2 per station. So this is station sowing. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're just going to pop that. I'm going to go fairly close to this side, and we'll just go in, and we're going to go twice the depth of the seed, and we're going to put them in sideways so the plumule and radicle can sort themselves out. So there's the bit with the hole, the hilum. There's a little hole called the micropyle which imbibes the water, and then the radicle and the plumule, the primary root and shoot, press out from that. So I'm putting them sideways so they can decide which way they want to go. 2 per hole, and I'm just gonna, that's it, okay, and then I'm just gonna go like that, and I'm gonna leave my trowel in the ground because I'll be doing someone's work for them, so I don't want to, and we just carry along like that, okay, and all the way up, and that's basically what we're going to do for the broad beans. If you've got your garlic, you're going to alternate. And you're going to put garlic about, well, it won't be alternate actually, because you can put them in about 6 inches apart. I'd plant your garlic. Anybody got the garlic with them?
Yeah.
Have you guys lend your clothes? I'm going to say lend your clothes then, but that doesn't sound right, does it? Right, okay, so what you've got in a garlic is a bulb, of course, and we're going to split them into the clothes like that. And what we want to do is we want to plant them just a little bit lower than the height. Some people leave them, but they're just sticking out the top. The trouble with that is the birds usually grab hold of them, and they pull them out, and they go back a week or 2 later, and they're all strewn all over the floor. So I actually prefer to plant them a little bit deeper, not too mad. And what we're going to do, we can plant them sort of about over here, and then every 6 inches. So what we're going to do is use the ferrule, that distance there, from there to there, to put your garlic in. It depends how many you've got. If you've got one bulb, then you could say, right, I've got about 8 there. Look at the distance, 3 meters, 300 centimeters. Divide 8 into that, 3 8s are 24. You know, so if you came in a little bit, it'd be you go on a longer spacing. Okay, so it's up to you, however you want to do that. It just gives you a nice row of garlic. They'll get a little bit of frosting, which will improve the garlic, and then they'll be ready about next May for okay, so that's the garlic. So again, just to sort of do one, push it in, make sure you know, I'm just burying that. You can go twice the depth if you want to, which is typical on a lot of bulbs, and you can put it in at that. Okay, another row of that, and then that's it. If you get to that stage over the next couple of weeks, and then next week we'll be pricking out the kale. It'll grow on over half term, and hopefully, weather permitting, the week after half term or a couple of weeks, we'll be planting that up, and then really we just forget about this then for the winter. So it's got to last quite a while. Okay, there we go. Okay.